Join the glorious evolution. Inferior constructs. They are obsolete. Relinquish the flesh. Destroy, then improve.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Viktor today. This is the character as seen on the Arcane show. It is a late game scaling mage. Very strong late game, but his early game is quite weak except for his level 1. So start with your Q. You can actually pressure a lot with your Q because it deals damage and also gives you a shield, so your early game traits will be super strong. But after level 1, when you get to like level 3 and onwards, that's why you want to transition into a more defensive playstyle, because your main goal and your only goal is to farm up. The reason for that is your passive. So when you last hit minions, then you get hex fragments. Each minion gives you 1 stack, and you need 100 stacks in order to upgrade one of your abilities. So normal minions gives you 1 stack, and a cannon minion will give you 5 stacks, and then if you get a takedown on an enemy champion, you're gonna get 25 stacks. The one and only goal is to farm up, guys. You want to get to that 100 stack as fast as possible so you can upgrade your E. Because when you upgrade your E, that's when you get that super OP wave clearing ability. So that's gonna help you a lot with stalling the game out. But you will still be a caster minion until you have all 3 upgrades. Focus on poking a lot. So your E, the laser, guys, it comes out insanely fast, so if you aim it well, then it's almost impossible to dodge. Like, that's how fast it comes out. So the opponent has to predict you using it, otherwise it's going to be really difficult to dodge. You don't want to be spamming your abilities. Focus on farming and really make sure that you get those cannon minions, because they give you almost as many stacks as a full minion wave towards their passive. And you need 100 stacks in order to upgrade the first ability, then you need 100 stacks again to upgrade the next one, and you need to do this 3 times until you have all the upgrades, and that's why you become kinda strong. Maxing out the E. You can trade aggressively, but also be careful. You don't want to get forced back to lane or base early on, guys. It's very important that you can stay in lane for as long as possible. Focus on farming. You do have the biscuits, and they really do help out a ton, especially into those more difficult matchups, or if you are forced to trade very often, then that sustain you get from the biscuits will really make a difference. And your W is the only hard CC ability you have. If they stay inside that zone for too long, then they're gonna be CC'd and they'll be stuck. You can use this ability as a zoning tool. For example, when you fight for the dragon or something, then you can place that in one of the entrances and then completely zone people away. You can also make sure that nobody's going to engage onto you, so there are many different ways that you can use it. In the laning phase though, you don't use it very often, only when you're gonna trade really heavily. You can use it to cut off the escape path, place it right behind the opponent, so when they try to run away, they're gonna end up running into it and then they're gonna be stuck. Really prioritize getting the farm, that's all that matters. You will not be able to get solo kills every single game on this champ. It's very rare that it happens, guys. Focus on farming, that's the most important. Right now we have 48 stacks, we need 100. That's when we can upgrade that E. When we do so, it's gonna get that extra damage part to it, and that's what allows that ability to one-shot the minion waves. So as soon as you have that, you have one of the absolute best wave clearing abilities in the game. So that's usually where you can start matching the opponent. Some champions in this meta have really good wave clear, they just show and roam. And early game Viktor is not able to match that, but as soon as you have that E upgrade, that's when you'll be able to do stuff. You can punish the opponent if he's trying to roam, instantly show out the wave and then go for the tower plates. You have to be very selfish when you play this champ. This is like a Kassadin in the late game. He does not have the mobility, but he has the damage. He's gonna one-shot every single squishy in the game. He doesn't even need the ultimate to do that. Just one E and a Q in the late game, guys. It's gonna one-shot an AD carry or a squishy mid laner. So it's a late game champ. You want to play for the late game. getting that lost chapter back to the base, that is the absolute best component for mages. It gives you everything you need to sustain through the early game. You have all the mana and the mana regen when you level up. Absolutely amazing item, guys. So if you can get this on your first base, then that's cool, but it's not going to happen every single game. Sometimes you'll be poked out a lot, so you have to base early on. In that case, just get the components towards it, and then get Lost Chapter on the second base. Your ultimate is not something you use off cooldown. What's important to know is that as soon as you use it and you hit somebody with it, it is going to cancel channeling abilities. So not like a Malzahar ultimate, Katarina's ultimate, it's going to cancel all of that out, but also something like a teleport. If you see the opponent teleporting mid lane, just walk up to them and hit them with that ultimate, it's going to cancel it out. And then of course it also deals damage over time. That's where most of the damage is at, so you really want to make sure that you hit them with those ticks. They're just going to add up later on, guys. You can really help out your teammates early game when you play Viktor. So if they're trying to contest objectives and such, you can't really do much, guys. The best thing you can do is to show out the waves, and then hopefully you can get a tower plated too, but you cannot do much in the early game, and that's just how it goes when you play Viktor. But if you get assist, that also counts as a takedown. That's going to give you 25 hex fragments, and now we got the E upgrade. So now there will be this additional aftershock, meaning that you have access to that super OP wave clearing ability. That aftershock you have on that E, guys, that's where most of the damage is at, so you really want to make sure that you hit people with the second part of your E, because almost all of that damage on this ability is in that part. Now is that when you can combine your W, because before people get locked down inside that W, they'll also be slowed. So you can like combine the W and the E to get like that hit on that second part of it. If you can get somebody locked up inside that W, then you can most of the time just nuke them down with your ultimate and your E as well. Now that you have this really good wave clearing ability, guys, it's gonna one-shot the backline minions, a single E. That's part of what makes this so OP. You just try to line up all the minions and then you hit everything, all of it. Sometimes the minions will mess up, randomly start moving, even though you aimed it pretty good, and you can't really help that. But if you aim it properly, hit the entire minion wave, then it should be gone pretty fast. And there are almost no champs that can match this in the early game, so you should be able to have prio as well. And you can also manually control your ultimate, but it will follow the enemy champion. But sometimes it does bug out, so try to manually control it so it does not get stuck in place, because that's the bug where it sometimes just randomly stops targeting the enemy champ and it just stays where it is. So if you control it manually, then it's a lot easier to get that damage off. And this is the wave clearing capabilities you have with that upgraded E. You can push out the waves insanely fast. No champion in the mid lane can match this wave clear, not even the assassins. Also, the way you aim your E, guys, try to hit them at the edge of it. It's insanely hard to dodge. And if you hit them with the second part, you can see it is going to deal ridiculous amount of damage. Just focus on shoving the wave. You don't really roam a lot on this champ. You're playing for the late game, meaning you don't have that much impact in the early game. But if you get kills or assists, then that passive is gonna come up a lot faster. We are sitting on 66 stacks. We need a bit more, then we can get the second upgrade, which will be on the Q, meaning that every single time we use the Q, then the shield is going to be stronger, but we also get that bonus movement speed, so we can kite a lot better. You can't really do much if your teammates are losing lane. Sometimes you can help out when you have your ultimate up, but you don't really offer a lot in the early game because you have high cooldowns and you are a scaling champ, meaning you're playing for the late game, so you don't really have that much impact early on. So the only consistent thing you can do every single game when you play Viktor is to farm up. That's what you really have to focus on. And you can easily play this champ in high elo. I play this champ a lot in Master Tier on EU West. It is one of my most played champs. I've been playing him every single season so far, guys. He's really good if you know how to stall the game out in the early game, and if you're good at farming, then you're gonna be rewarded a lot with this champ. But we do have the second Hex upgrade going into that Q. As I said earlier on, when you upgrade that Q, you get a stronger shield, but more importantly, you also get that bonus movement speed, so it's gonna really help you kite people, maneuver around skill shots, and get close as well. So you go from immobile champ to have some actual decent mobility. And then the last upgrade will be on that W. When you have the last upgrade, then it's going to apply this slow to all of your basic abilities. So you pretty much have the Rylai's passive, the passive from the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. That's what you have in this champion kit, and that's also why you never buy that item. So when you get that slow, then it becomes a lot easier to hit, especially that second part of your E. You're gonna get the CDR boots. You can also go for sock shoes, but ability haste is so OP right now, so of course you want it. And since it also reduces the cooldown of your summoner spells, you get to use that flash and also teleport more often. So it is a champion that can one-shot people in the later stages. As soon as you have Ludus Tempest, Lichbane and a Rabadon, you're gonna one-shot every single squishy in the game. Even those assassins you struggle to deal with early on, guys, as soon as you have these items, you're gonna one-tap them. And the thing I like about Viktor is that, first of all, he's a very strong late game champ. He has really high carry potential as soon as you get your items. But he can also do well into most matchups. Like, it's very hard to counterpick him. I mean, he does have difficult matchups, but there's nothing where you just get stumped in the lane over and over. If you're good at this champ, then you should be able to play out most lanes. So it's a champ you can blind pick. You know, when you're first pick and you cannot see the enemy team comp, then you can lock in the Viktor. And you're gonna be safe, and this champ has pretty much every single thing you need from a mid laner. He has really good scaling, really good wave clear, insane team fighting, one of the best team fighting mages in the game actually, so he has everything you need, you just need to get to that stage. Even if your teammates are ending, guys, focus on farming well. We want to get those 3 passive upgrades and focus on getting at least 2 items. So you get the Ludus Tempest and then you also get the Lichbane. And then you can do stuff, but if you can also get the Rabadon Stealth Cap, then you can easily solo carry the games. You can use that Q bonus movement speed to get within range of the enemy champ, but your carry potential is absolutely insane. Now we got that last upgrade on the W, meaning that all of our basic abilities are going to slow the opponent. So we have that free Rylai's Crystal Scepter passive right now. It's a lot easier to hit people with the second part of your E. Remember that this does not work on your ultimate though. You know the takes that come down, they do not proc this passive because that would be kind of OP. So, but you still do get this effect on the basic abilities. And it should also work on the first cast of your ultimate, you know, right when you use it, but it does not work on the ticks. But this is your time to shine. You have the Ludus Tempest, you also have the Lichbane, and then of course if you want even more damage you can go for the Sock Shoes, but do keep in mind that Lucidity Boots are the best boots in the game for mages, because as soon as people buy MR, then the effectiveness of the Magic Pen boots will be lowered so much. They offer you almost nothing. But Lucidity Boots will be good throughout the entire game, especially during the later stages where the cooldowns means a lot more. So it really is a big deal that you get those abilities and also summoner spells up more often. Insanely OP wave clear, as you can see. 1E can one-shot the entire wave. You should be in the silence after the Millennium Tower is down. So you can get all of that gold and XP for yourself, and this is also how you get those really high CS numbers that we normally get in high elo. You can see I'm almost at 10 CS per minute. And the way you do this is by going to silence, pick off the minions, and then you can also take away the jungle camps on the way. Especially when you have it teleport up, then you don't want to be grouped. Because if your teammates get caught, then you can always teleport to them. So you want to use that extra time, stay in the silent, and then get all of that gold for yourself. This champ is all about farming. If you can farm well, get the items, then you should be able to carry most of your games. You have insane amount of burst damage. So you can easily like one-shot 80 carries for the full combo. This misfortune unfortunately got away, but you can see how much burst damage we have. And we have not even skilled up yet. Just wait until we get the Rabadons, then we don't even need the ultimate anymore. Sitting on a lot of gold. If you play against an AD assassin mid, then you can get the Seeker Soundguard as your first item. And then you just sit on that item until you get the core items like the Luna's Tempest, the Lich Bane, and then you can get the Sonya's Hourglass. That's something you can do against the AD assassins, but right now we are snowballing, game is going well. We don't really have any threats, real threats that can just jump on us and one-shot us, so we're gonna go for raw AP items, meaning the Rabadon's Death Cap. That's gonna give you the biggest spike in the game. But do keep in mind that Viktor, even though you have that bonus movement speed on your Q, you're still somewhat immobile because you need to hit somebody with that Q before you can abuse that bonus movement speed. So champions with a lot of gap closers, you have to be extremely careful, especially assassins in the early game. Something like a Kiana can easily one-shot you. So positioning is very important on this champ. It's a control mage after all, so he's gonna be squishy. But if you can position well on this champ, guys, you're gonna do so well in fights. It's a champ that has insane AoE damage, so you can even one-shot the entire enemy team at the same time if they're all stacking up, because you can hit them with the ultimate, you can also hit them with that E. If you do that in a single fight, then you're gonna win it almost every single time. Also take away the jungle camps if you can, that's only gonna extend your lead, and it's also gonna shut down the enemy jungler, put them even further behind. Just push out, and that slow you have with the last Hexcore upgrade is so useful, extremely important. You can see the AD carries will not be able to match your DPS, and when you get that Rabadons, that's why the real fun part begins. But it is one of the late game gods, with Kassadin, Asir, and then we also have Viktor, and Cassiopeia, Vega and so on. This is one of them. You get to late game, then you are the one who has to carry it out. We have this sweeper here. When you play against a Teemo, then of course you want the sweeper, but also do buy it if you are ahead, because you can clear out the vision and choke out the enemy team. Force them to face check, when they want to defend objectives and such. So force them to face check, and then you can just pop them as soon as they come out. I am playing the entire game in the silence, and that's what I do on Viktor. Even in high elo, on my Masters Plus account, guys, this is the way you play Viktor probably. This is the only right way. But sometimes, especially if you play in lower elos where your teammates get caught a lot, if you think you can win the fight, then you can go and help them. But if they're just going to die, then just stay in the silence, get the objectives instead, and also get the minions. People are fighting in the top side, but we are focusing on the objectives. Objectives is how you close out the game. You need to focus down the objectives, the inhibitor, the dragons, the Rift Herald, the Baron, the Elder Drake. You want to play for the objectives, also play around the vision. If the opponent does not have any vision, they will be forced to face check when you're fighting for a crucial objective, and that's why you can really abuse the Fog of War, where they don't have vision. You're almost level 16, that's another massive power spike, guys. Of course, the last point into your ultimate. You're gonna absolutely one-shot people, and most champs in this meta are squishies. Even bruisers who seem extremely tanky, like a Darius, you're gonna pop that guy just instantly. You have ridiculous amount of damage. Right now we can afford the Rapidness Death Cap as well, but this game is going to end soon, so we don't get to see the power of it, but this is pretty much how you're going to play Viktor. Every single game. Focus on the farming. Focus on getting those upgrades to your basic abilities. You need all 3 upgrades for this become a champ. He's a caster minion onto that. And they also need your power spikes, your 3 core items. Once you have that, that's when you start carrying. This was how to play Viktor. I hope this was helpful. As always, thanks for watching and see you all in the next one.